Hi everybody, so in this tutorial we're going to go over basic shape editing. Pretty straightforward. Again, as always, I just have tools and tool settings turned on. You can do that from the overlay menu. And I'm going to start by going to the tools overlay here and over to create cube, and we'll just work with a basic cube to start with. Oop, I think I had that set there for some reason before. And then I'll just drag out basic shape to start with. So you've seen that in the previous tutorial, so I'm not going to talk about that. However, here we're going to go over how to start editing. So actually, as an example, I think will be useful, I'm also going to create a basic, just regular Unity cube that appeared inside, of course, very nice. Okay, so we have a ProBuilder cube and a Unity cube. You might be noticing a couple things already, and this is really important to the contextual tooling system. First of all, with nothing selected, you always have just your basic tools, plus any creation tools that are coming from any other items you have installed in your project, ProBuilder, splines, whatever else. At the very front, there's this kind of grayed out little dude here, and this is saying you're currently working in game object mode, meaning you can select and manipulate those with the standard tools. But you'll notice as soon as I select the ProBuilder object, it has an edit mode here. So this thing with a little pencil in there is trying to tell you with a bright orange color, hey, I'm editable. Notice when you select the standard cube, nothing shows up. It's just a standard boring Unity cube. But for the ProBuilder cube, this appears here and I can click to activate editing. So it's as simple as that. And now I'm editing the elements or the bits on the inside of the cube here. So this would work for, it's an important thing I do want to mention, available to anybody. So anybody who's making any kind of custom tooling, this is just a standard edit mode thing. And of course you can use keyboard shortcuts to activate that, whatever you want to do. Just check those out in edit and shortcuts. But again, that's not part of this tutorial. So let's go ahead and undo that change and start talking about this. So here I am in edit mode. This means that now the mouse is going to be selecting these parts of the object. You'll see here in the tool settings, so notice I'm in the move tool, and then I have tool settings below, and this is going to keep track of whatever the current tool is. And one of the settings for this is I can select faces or edges or vertices. So that setting is basically what the tool can select and work on. Since ProBuilder works on those separately, just like Blender and most DCCs for this sort of thing. So selection within ProBuilder should follow all the basic Unity rules. If you see something different, let us know, we'll fix it. Of course, you can drag select, click select. If you hover on things, they'll highlight. If you hold shift, it's going to add to your selection. It's the same thing when drag selecting, so I'm holding shift. I'm going to click and drag, and that's going to add these on. You can also hold, let's see if I remember, I think it's actually control. And you know what, it actually shows up down here now in the helper bar. If you've noticed, this is telling me what I can do with the current mouse. So yeah, control is gonna invert. So I can hold control to click on selected things to deselect them or vice versa. And that'll also work for drag select. And in case you didn't know, that's also just how it works in Unity general with game objects. Okay, so that's the boring stuff. Selection, let's see. Yeah, same thing for edges. Again, click select, etc. Do your work. And then looking at the tools up top. So when you are in the edit mode for a ProBuilder object, you have a basic set of tools: move, rotate, and scale. Those are supported. Again, notice if you go out of this, you have a few others: the rect tool and the super mega crazy transform tool, or whatever that's actually called, that I don't personally use. So we can use each of these just the same. And also, in case you're using keyboard shortcuts, they'll all stay the same as well. So you can be in your edit mode and all the same good old muscle memory should apply if you're using that. So moving things around, nothing too special. There are a couple special items you can do though. So let me make just a bit larger face here. And then if I go to face mode, when you have a face selected, let's see the easiest way to display this first. I will just hold down the shift key. And what's going to happen with shift held is you get an extrusion. So you know what, let's delete this Unity cube here. So to do that, I'll hit escape on the keyboard, click it, hit delete, and then I can go back to this. And again, keyboard shortcut to go into edit mode, or I'll just click the button to make it more obvious for the tutorial. I should remember to do that. Anyway, so yeah, shift is a great way to really quickly just add some quick detail to things if you need to. I use that a lot for a lot of construction. Anyway, okay, so you can do that, and then you can also use that with the rotate and scale tools. So the scale tool probably makes the most sense for this. So if I hold shift in this case, it's going to do basically, oops, and inset. Oh, I must have snapping turned on. So if you see that crazy thing happening, it might be because you have snapping on. We don't want it in this case for the tutorial. So I'm gonna turn that off. And again, I'll just hide this because I don't want to use it right now. Keep it simple. Okay, so back to that. I have the face selected, hold down shift, and I'm gonna scale it up and down. So that'll do an inset, which allows me to just have this extra face here to do whatever fun things you might want to do with it. Again, you can do that with rotate also. It doesn't usually make a lot of sense. So if I hold shift and rotate this, it's creating this crazy looking thing here, which, you know, if I pull up makes a bit more sense, but not super useful. It's there in case for some reason you want to use it, but personally I don't ever. Okay, so a couple other options with this. Let's see, again, we're not going to get into fancy actions and beveling and cutting across edges and such, just the general works. There really isn't a lot to this, and that's kind of the idea, is it works. Oop, I must have done something bad there. Works very, very simply. Oh, of course, to delete a face, just hit backspace on the keyboard. It's not delete. If you hit delete, you delete the entire object. Sorry, that's kind of a weird old thing from the old days. That's still there. But you can undo and then go back to edit mode if you happen to hit delete by accident. So just watch out for that one. Again, it's just backspace to remove an item. That only works on faces. We're a little behind in that there's no, you can't do that to an edge or a vertex, just won't work. Sorry, we would of course love to get that feature sometime in the future. Okay, let's got a couple more tool settings. So, oh, here's a really good one. I keep forgetting this. Should probably plan out these tutorials a bit better, but they're all just kind of happening right over the weekend. So we'll see how they go. So if you have a face selected and you'd like to move it, actually a better example is, let's say I have this inset and I just want to, you know, pull it and make it come out exactly in from its own angle there, I guess you'd say. Technically it's its normal direction. You can now change that right here, nice and easy. So these are the, again, tool settings, and you have the orientation of the handle. So whether it's global, that means it's oriented to the entire world, or local, which would be the object itself in case your object is rotated, and element. So when I switch to that one, you'll see it now matches that surface. So I can extrude right in that direction, or of course it lets me do something like shifting that around on the surface, which is pretty nice, especially if you're doing it for the edges. So here you can see when I select the edge, it's still using the faces normal that it's on there. So I can move that up and down, and vertices are going to work the same, but both edges and verts will get a little weird once you get to corners. And you know, for that, let's create a new object, hit escape, delete, draw a new cube, because that one's gotten a little messy as they usually do in these tutorials. Back to edit mode, and let's select an edge and just kind of pull it over to make that slope again. So I'm still set here in element mode, and as you can see actually right away after I've done this, this arrow is not showing the surface, but it will depending on where I click. So deselect that edge. So as I'm hovering near the edge, I can make it highlight while I'm over here on this face, or while I'm on this face, right? So if I, oops, hit the focus key. If I hover to highlight that edge while I'm on this particular face and then click, well, oops, I got the one behind it somehow, a bug. There we go. So I click and it's going to use the face normal here. So, oops, now I can, you know, move along that face's normal, the lower one. Or what I can do is, you know, just deselect to make it more obvious, hover on this face here, make sure that edge is highlighted, and when I click, it's going to use that face's normals. So hope that makes some sense. You'll find a lot of use for it as you work. Might not seem super clear at first, and then it's kind of the same for vertices, but their vertices are a little crazier. So again, something kind of like extruding while rotating, I just don't use, but it's there in case you need to use it, more of an advanced use. Okay, let's see a couple more things I wanted to go over. I think we could look at, so items here towards the edge of your tool settings, a couple useful bits here. This one right here, as it says, is setting select hidden element. So right now, a good example is you can see vertex back behind here, right? And if I drag select and cover that area back there, it's not selected, right? And that's because it can't be seen. And so we're kind of protecting you from from selecting things and not knowing about it. let's set this back to local because those handles look crazy. But if you turn this on, so now it will select hidden elements. I'll go ahead and do that same exact drag select. Now you can see that one back there was selected. So that actually I maybe could demo better by turning on the view options, and I'll just drag that out of there so it's not getting in the way. Oh, that's right. Recently Unity changed and now has draw modes as a separate toolbar. Okay, so I'll just get rid of that one. We'll just keep this one up. There we go. So I'll go to wireframe mode, wireframe view here, and now easier to see as I drag select, I'm getting that one back there versus, oops, I hit the tool settings keyboard shortcut, versus if I turn that off. Actually, I'm not sure what wireframe might do. Yes, it ignores it because it's treating it as if it were fully in the solid draw mode. So that's debatable. Let us know if you think that would be correct or not. I'm going to lean towards not correct. Anyway, that's what it does. That's that extra tool. You also have an extra one for edges and faces. This is going to turn on how the selection works over the rect in a slightly different way. So with this turned off by default, if I drag select, it's going to get everything that's just touching that drag select in anyway. You can see how my mouse or the rect is just barely hitting those. But if I turn that on, it's just a lot more, it requires you to cover the entire surface. So if I drag select now, it gets nothing. But if I did a drag select and it covers entirely that surface up there, then it will pick it, but not the others. So this can be really helpful if, again, more advanced cases, you're trying to pick one face or a group of faces out of a specific region and you want to not get anything except exactly what you're completely covering in that drag rect. So useful for that, but otherwise, I'd say leave it off. Okay, so I think that's it. That's everything. You know how to do basic work with ProBuilder now. Again, just move, rotate, scale. All the basic tools work. All the muscle memory you might have from keyboard shortcuts will work, and the tools themselves. Hold shift to do extrusions. That'll also work with, rotate, scale. You can kind of chain that up to make some interesting shapes pretty quickly. It's one of the ways I usually like to do it. And yeah, don't forget to play around with these options. And again, all of this, in case you just don't want to keep clicking on this stuff, edit, shortcuts, that was a hard S, edit, shortcuts, and then you can go to ProBuilder somewhere in here, there it is, and set those. Like I have them set to 1, 2, 3, because I'm used to using 3ds Max back in the day, but whatever you prefer, you can use. Okay, well, thanks so much for taking a look. Hope this covers everything you need to get started and start modifying your shapes at a poly level. And let me know if there's anything else you'd like to see. Okay, see you in the next one.